Okay, in this last segment on our day 2 debrief, we talk about the event we went to, the seminar with Steven Spielberg, what he revealed about the new movie coming out, Disclosure. And it's not a whole lot, but he did reveal some very interesting things. And we go into a discussion on another seminar that we heard about the energy grid and some of the energy requirements in AI, and they all kind of tie together. This is at South by Southwest. So I hope that you enjoy this last segment. This will be my last update, my last segment that we produced before Easter. Thank you.
With that in mind, you guys go to Disclosure.
Yes, we went to see the Steven Spielberg interview.
How was that?
That was really, really good.
What
really,
were the takeaways that you got from that?
Well, you guys were actually saw him in person. I was in the simulcast.
Yeah, we got to go see him in person. We were in the
How was it?
Yeah. For me personally, I went to see it because it's about his movie coming out in June called Day of Disclosure, and it's the messaging. So it's not so much. I think for most people now, it's not so much, aliens, it's the themes within the movie, and that's what a lot of people are discussing. So this the theme of realizing, we actually aren't alone. So how does that play out in humanity? And the themes of, how now do we integrate that into our lives? So that's the theme. Mm-hmm. And then the other theme of, how does politics now readjust to this? And so it's all these themes, right? And so I wanted to go hoping that he would discuss what disclosure meant to him, or just more of the disclosure rate. So for me, it was a little disappointing because he barely brought any of that up. Where it was interesting, though, if you were a fan of Spielberg, which would have been great to go and see, so if I switch into that mode, it was really cool to see. Because he talked all about his movies and which movies were personal to him, and just some of the background of how the movies came to be. And he said most of his movies are developed out of nightmares, out of his nightmares and stuff.
Really?
And
Yes.
yeah.
Oh my
so
goodness.
it was really interesting in that way.
Yeah,
Jaws,
Jaws.
right?
Yeah.
Jurassic Park,
Yeah.
we just talked about. So it was interesting from that context, but I went for the other context of the disclosure piece, and he barely said anything.
He didn't disclose on
But
Disclosure.
I will say this, because some people
Yeah, he didn't. And he
think
specifically said he wouldn't.
Spielberg.
Oh,
Yeah.
Some people think Spielberg is more in the know than he's letting on, and he did say, just reading my notes, what he did. The only things he said really about disclosure or aliens was, the better question today is, are we alone now?
Yeah.
So are they here on Earth now?
Oh, wow.
Instead of do they exist, it's are they here now?
And the clear implication of the way he was saying it was he believes
They are.
they are.
And then he says he believes they exist.
Or he wanted that to be the pre-understanding of the movie.
the
Because
hook.
that's
The hook.
that's
The hook.
because that's all the other thing we're dealing with is what does he believe versus
Well, the interesting thing about
he believes he
definitely believes it.
Yeah.
He wasn't just trying to hook us.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a hook for the movie.
cool.
And the other thing is, the thing that I got out of it, which I think is probably important to understand about Steven Spielberg, since he is such a big producer, his driving motivation behind the reason why he produces his movies is he wants to create something where there's a story, that the story resonates with everyone in the audience, and you have a collective experience of feeling that sense of OMG together. That's it's this incredible moving experience or fear, whatever it might be, and you have that in the theater. He emphasized that in the theater it's much better.
Yeah.
He talked about how it was Daniel Day-Lewis that played Lincoln.
Yeah.
In the movie Lincoln, when Daniel Day-Lewis gave the speech on why they needed to pass the bill, that was one of the most moving events for him as a producer. He said that when he gave that, he was so moved by that speech, he had to leave the set, and he went back into his office, and he just sat there at his desk and was sobbing. And when they cut the scene, Day-Lewis went to the producer and said, "Where's the skipper?" He called him the skipper. He said, "Where's the skipper?" And she said, "Well, I think he went back to his office." So he went back over there, and he found him crying at his desk because he was so moved. And he just put his arms around him, and he said he remembered that. That was a very moving experience for him.
Which is pretty crazy coming from Saving Private Ryan and Schindler's List and all the things that he's been a part of in different ways. Yeah. To think that was
He seemed really humble
mm-hmm.
and really well spoken, but humble and a lot of, he really let you into see the real him.
Yeah.
That's really opened up, right?
Yeah,
he really did. Really amazing.
It was.
It was interesting from that point of view. I'm just going to backtrack a little bit here to finish the thought, because, like I said, I went for Disclosure, and I think maybe some of the audience here might be on that track too. So just to finish it off, so he said, "Are we alone now?" is the better question. He does believe they exist. And some people believe that through the messaging that Spielberg has put through his movies, especially the alien ones, that he is more connected within the know. He's more in the know than he's letting on. And so he did say he's so into this that he can't believe that he isn't one of the ones that have seen them in person.
Yes.
And then he said... he knows no more than any of us about them, right? It was interesting to me that he made that point, just knowing that a lot of people think he's more in the know than he's letting on. So it's interesting that he brought that point out to it as well, So yeah, I wanted to make that point.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah.
Yeah, but it was really a calm, he was meticulous. He was so well spoken. It was unbelievable. The interviewer, obviously, they must have rehearsed this a few
Sean
times.
Hennessy.
Yeah.
Was the interviewer.
So he did a marvelous job. It was really well scripted.
It was very well done. And the other thing that I thought that kind of stood out to me, something that he said, and I think about this because, Steven Spielberg is, his family's Jewish, and his wife Kate Capshaw, who she converted to Judaism when she married him, and the story E.T. was one of the ones that he said was also very moving for him. For two reasons. One, because that's what got him interested in becoming a parent. He didn't want to have. He had never thought about him having kids of his own before that, and then after that, he was like, I really want to, because he developed a relationship with Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
And he said he's still, they're still close.
They're very close still.
So, but he also felt like I don't remember exactly what he said, but he felt like the character of E.T. was, and it comes out really well in the movie, that there was this sense of kind of this unconditional love, and that, surrounding that whole motif or whatever you might call it, and in that, because I'm thinking as Christians, and we understand the unconditional love that we understand exists in this world that's only part of the understanding of modern culture because of Christianity. It's not even something. It's there in Judaism, but it's not as strong, because Judaism is more about preserving the Jewish nation in terms of their focus.
In the obey, blessing, disobey, correct?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so this idea, but they're applying this idea of unconditional love to an alien creature that, as far as we know, that alien creature is not made in God's image. Of course, it's all make-believe, right? I mean, there is no E.T. But they're applying this unconditional love to this alien creature that doesn't resonate with me. I watched E.T. It was a good movie, but I never felt this pull of emotion in watching that movie. And I remember talking to friends that that told me that they cried when watching that movie because of all that.
I actually never watched the movie. You watched the movie?
Oh yeah, you've never watched
I've
it.
never watched it. I
Popcorn party
know.
tonight.
So, yeah, okay.
Tea screening for
I'm culturally
Carl.
illiterate.
Full
Sorry.
disclosure.
Full disclosure, I've not watched E.T. Yes.
Wow.
Full disclosure, I probably have seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind probably 6 or 7 times.
Okay.
So yeah, I just chose the adult version.
Yeah. But interesting point that you bring up about how we have emotion for an ET, so an alien species, right? Well, isn't that what we're doing right now with AI?
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
We're falling in love with
very
AI.
good,
We
yeah.
cry over AI. We like the whole thing.
Yes,
right?
and developing an attachment to
Yeah.
this.
Like as a kid, I
intelligence.
watched ET as a kid. Oh, obviously we all did. And
Well, not quite.
oh, except for you.
So yeah.
Because you're still a boy at heart.
That's
So,
right,
yeah,
totally.
yeah, you're still got to get old enough to be able to watch.
True,
Yeah.
true.
You're
Might
outside
be
blowing
tonight.
things up.
They didn't have moving pictures in.
Yeah. And so as a kid, I remember because it drew on my emotions, and especially as a woman in the nurturing part, right? That I thought about ET long after the movie.
Oh,
you
sure.
know?
The only part about E.T. that I do remember, because I had watched or maybe read a book on subliminal advertising messaging,
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
M&M.
Yeah.
Yeah, and finger you get the M&M.
It wasn't an M&M.
It was
What?
Reese's
It's
Pieces.
a Reese's Pieces. Thank you,
That
thank
was
you.
brand new.
That's right, Reese's
Right.
Pieces. Yes, perfect.
We
place.
all ate Reese's Pieces after that.
See, that's fascinating because
That's actually-
my friends and I connected with him because he was lost.
Yeah.
And the whole sadness of it was, here's this, what you find out is little kid alien apart from his parents. We got to get him back to his parents.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
So the emotional part there is the connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We connect to an experience that we've all had.
Yeah.
And interesting then too, that's the movie that he decided that he wanted to be a parent through.
Right.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, a real quick rabbit trail on connecting and experiences. So I went to the expo, watched the robot dog. The robot dog didn't do too much, but they had the humanoid robot. Did flips and did cartwheels and they did a dance for us and all kinds of stuff. But a few booths down was an outfit called Feel Tech. And so they had these anime Japanese representations of very, I guess, well-known pop stars in Japan and Southeast Asia. And the line was "Live Next Gen Hepatic Sharing." So they had a big screen. They had these 3 anime characters, and then you were given a wand. Some of them had a wand in one hand and a ball in the other. And it was explained to me that they had programmed into the avatars a heartbeat, a sense of neural connection. And so every time that the animes moved on the screen, you could feel it in your hands. Your heartbeat and its heartbeat would connect and form a relationship, and that you can now literally feel. In fact, that's what it says. Feel what your favorite artist feels. And they had it on the screen that this was part of a myth project or a myth making experiment along those lines. Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is crazy. And technological initiative that utilizes human augmentation platforms to share human emotions and senses as information personalized for the receiver. Yeah. Anyways, connections. Unless we connect, unless we actually feel that, and in fact, I think that's really a key component of re-enchantment. Is it requires that the level of feeling overrides the rationality.
Yeah.
Because
And that's the
experience.
preference.
That's a preference.
Yeah.
That is the
That's
preference.
the
Yeah,
preference.
the feelings and the experience
Experience.
validate that to be real
Right.
instead of knowledge and it's a shift. It's like I've talked about before. It's a shift in epistemology.
Totally.
We're moving away from the pure empiricist epistemological base to experience feelings that override
Right.
what the world is looking for in a scientific
Yeah,
paradigm.
but that totally goes along with what the world is trying to tell us too, right? It's not about meaning, it's about are you fulfilled, are you happy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you your full self? Are you being able to identify with who you truly are?
Do you feel whole?
Yeah.
The psychedelic movement is very much that.
Mhm.
It's designed around or being pushed to mainstream around helping mental health or post-traumatic stress disorder, things like that.
Mhm.
And those traumatic experiences can be healed by taking a psychedelic, going on a journey, using whichever drug, ketamine, psilocybin, whatever.
Mhm.
And it's almost how they're describing it is they relive that trauma, but from a different context. So that it's like they're standing there watching it happen to them without experiencing the feeling. And then you see it through a different lens, and then you can go, oh, now I understand it. And now I can accept or integrate or now I can deal with it and heal.
So it removes the uncomfortable or bad feelings.
Gives you a different perspective.
Yeah, so it's an experience, right? And it's all about the capital S self. They say that a lot within that movement. You're coming to terms with your capital S self, integrating those trauma parts within yourself. Yeah.
Is it tomorrow that we have the psychedelic sessions, or is it Sunday?
I think they start tomorrow,
Okay.
but they're a lot of reserved, so they're hard to get into, obviously.
Yeah, I know.
But
We're gonna have to get
we're
it
gonna
right.
really have to try.
And there was, we all went to different talks in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Just briefly, I know we don't want to go down the road of politics, but can you just tell us who the big political person was, without having to dive into
So-
one side or the other?
So we thought we had reserved so many sessions, but because if you've been to South by Southwest before, it used to be in a convention center from what I understand. Well, this year it isn't, and so now it's just crazy. It's all over the place, and it's really hard to jump from session to session to session. And by the time you get to a session, there's already a big lineup, and so it just becomes impossible to see everything that we want to see. So we decided that we were going to go to the expo that you just talked about. So I'm geographically or whatever challenged, and I'm trying to read this map thinking I'm going in the right direction, and I think I was. I maybe just didn't go far enough, whatever, got frustrated and said, okay, done. And so we went back to the nearest one of the hotels and stumbled across a session, and it was an hour-long session that had two podcast sessions. So they were live podcast with two guests. That's how they did it. Yeah.
Okay.
And so the first one, Brian can talk about, but I'll just mention the second one. The second one was with Nancy Pelosi. It's just like, okay.
In live.
Live,
Physically.
right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could have thrown
And-
a rock at her.
And interestingly enough, that session didn't have the big lineup.
Oh.
It didn't. And that's why I kept
I didn't
texting
see it
you.
in the guidebook.
It wasn't
No,
in.
I
looked
over-
it up. It wasn't listed ahead of time.
No, I
For that
overheard.
But she's been here 3 different times before,
Oh.
and they never announced that she was coming.
Okay, interesting.
See, I overheard it standing in line for another session. Another girl said, oh, I want to get to the Nancy Pelosi one at 4. So I'm like, oh, so then I typed in Nancy Pelosi, and that's how I knew where to go.
Okay.
But that's why I kept texting you though, like,
But I was
there's
already-
still room, there's still room.
but I was already, again, the issue
Because
of
it didn't
distance,
fill up.
I was already in another hotel
Yeah.
on the other side. And so it's like, you're wrestling with, all right, by the time I get to the hotel where you guys are and Nancy Pelosi's speaking, am I gonna get in? And I probably
And you
would have
would've.
gone, I would've.
Which I was surprised about, to be
Right,
honest.
right,
But
right,
again, they didn't announce it ahead of time.
right.
So it didn't fill up until I made probably 5 minutes. I turned around, it's like, oh, it's like probably is full now. But yeah, and so I don't know what can I say that.
Well, we don't need to
without
say anything about
going
this.
into anything,
Because
but
if we say anything, then I have to go and edit my video before I post it. So we're not. So we'll end the conversation about that.
Was the other one the Mark Cuban one?
so
Yes.
the first
Yeah.
so the first
saw that on
podcast was now Brian can because he's
Yeah, Mark
excited about
Cuban
this.
was there. He was awesome. Like he's humble.
Actually, he was really good.
He's
Yeah.
humble. He's got his 3 kids, and he talked about health and what he does. And you know, yeah, he owns whatever team he owns down here, right? He's a billionaire, right? And he talked about the Dragons Den too. How much fun they have on that.
What's the Dragon's Den?
Oh, it's a show where
you pitch
Oh,
new
that
new
right.
ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, pitch new ideas. And
Like-
there's 4 or
like
5
Shark Tank.
dragons there.
Right.
yeah.
And they think it's a good idea or a bad idea, and one of them will try to invest with you, but of course they'll take all the profit and make you do all the work. But that's just my take on it. Of course I'm probably wrong, but
Absolutely right, Brian. Absolutely right.
so anyway, it was pretty funny. But he was humble and he was awesome, and he talked about his kids and the regime that they have, and he says if you want, talked about health and all that stuff.
That's
So
cool.
It was a
Had
really
lot-
good talk.
Yeah, and had lots of really good slogans, I guess. Like one of them that we both wrote down was how you work in anything is how you work in everything. You know,
Oh,
like
that's
he
a good
just
point.
kept saying like just profound stuff like that
Yeah.
throughout it all. Yeah.
That's why I really didn't like him that much. But it's making me accountable, and I hate that.
Yes,
But so okay, by bringing up Nancy Pelosi, we see a range of what happens at South by Southwest.
you do. Yes.
In fact, on my social media feed, my Facebook feed, a couple of days ago, somebody had asked a question of another person who commented in my feed to the effect of, I thought this is basically just a music event. No, that is, it started that way, but that's not what this is. This is where you have world level conversations in an environment where you're actually, just like Burning Man, where you almost automatically develop conversations around you.
Yeah.
And we had that.
We had-
All of us had
Oh,
that.
We
we
all
had
had
so much
some-
fun this morning with one person. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have Nancy Pelosi. We got music.
Yeah.
We've got podcasters.
Yeah.
We've got the
Steven
leading.
Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
We got robots.
Yeah, I sat through a session on. You guys had to take off because to go see Steven Spielberg. And I
Yeah.
sat through the one on energy evolution of data
I would
centers
have loved to stay through that.
with the head, with Google's head of market innovation.
What was your takeaway from that?
Heavy Google presence.
Heavy Google
And I
presence.
sat with Google as well.
Yeah, there's a big Google presence all throughout the event,
Yeah.
and a big IBM presence.
Yes.
My takeaway. Okay, so it was a very technical talk, and what Brianna, the director of Google's market innovation, was talking about was the challenge of all of these parameters to establish data centers. Part of the big problem on the U.S. side is your electrical grid is very fragmented.
Yep.
You've got, even within one particular state, you can have a dozen different companies who've got their hands on the lines, and how difficult that is. And then, of course, in a warmer climate, you've got the problem of your chips are overheating, your servers are overheating, and so you need a lot of water to cool it all down. And how Google has worked to try to find an innovative way around it, and they've succeeded in that now. They don't need the amount of water that other data centers potentially need, and they had a whole criteria list, which ironically perfectly matched one jurisdiction that I know of in all of North America. and that's my province, which is all hydroelectricity, because Google was saying, Brianna was saying, we want it to be renewable,
Yeah.
we want it to be robust, we want it to be reliant, we want it to be fairly inexpensive, we want to be able to work with the consumer side of it, and so you're going to want a grid that is tapped into something that isn't going to be going down like it does with wind or with solar.
Yeah.
You want it to be that have that consistency. If you do need water cooling, you're going to want access to fresh water. Manitoba has something to the effect of 300 trillion gallons of fresh water. We are probably one of the most freshwater saturated sites in the world,
Yeah, pretty much.
with 100,000 lakes.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go home and start tapping into that insight by
Well,
trying to.
okay, so this is shame on me, but I walked up to her and I was like, I know. I walked up to her and I said, all of the positives that you're looking for that you can't find in the United States, there is one location in North America, and she goes, spit it out.
You said, pay me $1 million and I.
Yeah. I should have said South Texas. Oh yeah, but so that, to me, that was a fascinating conversation because it helped me put together the challenge of what the grid's going to have to. I mean, this is a grid issue.
This is
Yeah.
a huge,
This is an
huge
infrastructure
issue.
issue.
Big.
All your hopes of AI being this, I'm just going to use the language, the God figure over our lives, where it's literally in every domain, in every facet of our lives, completely depends on infrastructure. And when infrastructure doesn't exist,
It's not going to happen.
it's not going to happen.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So it's a fascinating talk.
Yeah.
And in Canada, we're building that right now. It's a hard UN push with lots of money through grants trickling on down into all counties and municipalities and
Yep.
stuff, rural areas, to get us all connected. It's a UN Sustainable Development Goal about curbing the digital divide, and
To get the
Yeah.
internet out to every place.
Yeah.
So,
but they're not saying that. But
Yeah,
of
but
course,
they're gonna
when
have to
you
do that
hear,
anyway to get to the 4-H guys, right? So,
Yeah.
Yes. As a
Well,
yeah.
and really, I mean, in their minds, are they actually thinking we have to control everybody?
No.
No, they're not thinking that. They are thinking this is beneficial for humanity.
Right.
And I think it's important for us to remember that that's what's in their minds. Because if we always think that these are a cabal that just wants to
They're not
take
thinking
us
of that.
over,
No.
it's the wrong way to think about it.
They're looking at it from an economic perspective.
Mhm.
This is a market, and attached to that is, and this is especially the case in the last 30 years, is the sense that we are now doing humanity a favor, or we are putting the conditions in place for a better tomorrow. But there's a saying, it's a cliche, but it's also true. And that is that the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
absolutely.
Right.
And it's, if we build this tower, we will be like God.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're building Babel. Crazy.
I would have loved to stay for that whole talk.
yeah,
I know.
yeah,
It
me
would have been
too.
great to be there and talk to her after, actually.
Yeah,
And from your perspective, Brian, working in the petroleum industry,
Yeah.
you have insights in how the energy infrastructure works that most of the people in the room, besides there were actually there were, but for the normal dudes like myself who aren't connected into that field, yeah, you'd have insights that you wouldn't.
Yeah, it would have been neat to talk to her,
But you went to go hear Steven Spielberg
yeah.
talk about his crying episode on an office.
No, it was amazing to see him. I think I went in with unrealistic expectations on the talk, right? I thought it would be, I don't know, a little more spectacular, but really he was down to earth, he was careful with his words. The
Yeah.
interviewer was really
he was good.
well spoken and good, and they must have it pretty well scripted because they stayed right on track and it seemed to flow really well. But Steven was really humble. So
That's
that's one thing I took away from it anyway.
That's really
Well
cool.
spoken, humble, and not look at me how great I am, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's right.
yeah, it was really good.
We're all humans, right?
What's that?
We're all humans.
Yeah, well, no, for
Yeah.
sure.
But doesn't that kind of jive with kind of how he's been received too? Because that comes through in his films. It's the humanity part that we identify with.
Yeah.
It's the things that scare him, that excite him, that are interesting to him, that he finds a way to connect with people through stories. And it's fascinating because it's all message.
Right.
But Steven Spielberg seems like a guy who's very down to earth. Another person who comes to mind might be like someone like Ron Howard or Tom Hanks, or those ideas that they're just trying to tell their story. They're not trying to make you believe what they believe. They're saying, hey, here's how I think. Come along for the ride. And it's fascinating that in person he comes across that way.
Yeah, he was super well spoken, obviously super intelligent, right? And the interviewer did a great job too. Like they must have really rehearsed well because it was just smooth.
When I said that, he said that most of his movies have come out of his nightmares, and he said the reason that that has come about is because he would be scared and he needed an outlet.
Oh.
He needed a place to put it,
Okay.
and so then he would create the movie.
No,
And
he
then
started
that would
off
be the
doing it
place.
to his sisters.
He would
He
scare his
started
sisters.
scaring
Yeah.
his sisters when he was a kid.
Yeah.
When he would get scared about things, he'd.
And he didn't want to be scared, so he put it on them.
That's right. Yeah. And from that, he learned how to turn it into putting it into movies.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's kind of-
Fascinating.
Yeah.
That is. The human element. That is fascinating.
Yeah, he was really humble and really it was really good.
Yeah. All right. What other ones did you guys go to?
Well, then I went to one on. Went to the last two that I went to. They were both on the space industry. One was on the companies that are doing things in space, and that was the point where I was just. This week is exhausting, and we're not getting a lot of sleep, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
I just couldn't pay attention fully. But one thing I did get out of it was that they're making a pretty big effort. One guy has a company that he's doing to try and clean up a lot of space debris,
Oh.
and he said like there's like 1 million or 100 million pieces of like really small to medium sized debris that doesn't qualify for being tracked. And so he's putting up satellites to start tracking all of that. And the idea is then they'll clean it up because they'll clean it up and they will contract with a company.
I want to be a space garbage man.
Yeah.
How fun would that be?
They're not trying to clean up all of it. They're only, when they call up, they're not doing a public service. He said that if there's a company that has a satellite in the area, he'll contract with them to, if that satellite or their group of satellites are in danger, then they will work with them to get their satellites out of danger. Now the other thing, one of the other ladies, she showed this type of array that they do, and that she called it like the Legos of space. And what they're doing is they're using AI, and they're packing everything into a certain, like, because they're constrained by the size of the payload that goes up with the rocket of whatever they can put out there. So they'll pack like a set of arrays that are in this tube. That then the tube opens up, and the arrays come out of the tube, and they are, by using AI, they interlock and assemble into the antenna or the space array, whatever it is that they're doing. So it's really interesting technology. And they talked about from an investment point of view. He said one of the things that they want people to understand if they're an investor is you don't get your return on the investment in a 3 to 5 year time period, or even in a 5 to 10 year time period They said, it can be more like a longer term, 10, 15, 20-year time period, which that could mean you don't actually get a return on your investment at all.
You're passing it to your kids.
Yeah, that's right.
FYI.
But they said they do have a lot of people that are interested in it, and the popularization with SpaceX coming online, and SpaceX having an IPO this year, they think is going to bring more investment money into the arena. And so people asked about, it could be a bubble in space tech, and they're like, yeah, maybe, but then they emphasize that is the way we think about space. The underlying issue, or it's not an issue, the underlying idea behind it, which we also saw in the one that we went to, is space is about transcending the limits of humanity.
Yes.
Transcending the limits off of the boundaries of Earth. They use that word,
Yes.
transcending, in both the one I went to and in the second one also.
That's right.
They use that word. It is about transcending the limits of humanity.
Yeah.
And
how can we transcend our limits to sustain our planet?
Yeah.
That was the language.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the very end of the last one that you and I went to, which was on replacing the International Space Station,
Right.
which is a really fascinating complexity and engineering puzzle, incredible, aviation, aerotech technologies that's coming on board, no question. But they ended it with a worldview issue.
They did.
And that was that space is, as we go into space, we see the Earth for what it is, without boundaries, without nation states. We see the wonder of the Earth, and we have what is called the overview effect, and we now have the sense of we are one with it all. And they brought that out at the end.
They did.
And then the other thing they brought out was that space is good for our dreams and visions because it's about humanity, and that was the overriding theme. It's the transcendence of humanity.
It's the transcendence, and I think of it like this, that like for us who are believers, all the things that they're looking to accomplish in space are good. I mean, and if you can get nations to cooperate, and space is one of the vehicles that can drive nations to cooperate instead of being at war with each other, that's a good thing. And they cited several examples of how, because of space, there was a diplomatic effect of space that caused the two, the United States and India, and the United States and Hungary to communicate, and Russia to communicate where they had not been communicating. So there is that aspect of it, and all those things are good. But like as a follower of Christ, we see the beauty of how God created the world. We see it is beautiful, and we're the only planet in our solar system that can sustain life. He put us here. This is our home.
Mm-hmm.
It's our home because God gave it to us.
Right.
And we also recognize that it's tainted with sin, that there's a corruption. And when you step back from it, you can look at it and see that it does have natural beauty, but you also, when you're down here, it doesn't change the reality that's on the ground. And I think the aspiration of feeling like that by seeing the earth will cause the reality on the ground to change, because if everyone could see it, it could have an effect maybe, but I don't think it's going to change, because we're the sin that's in our hearts that causes us to go to war with each other is not going to go away until Christ returns.
Well, we all benefit from the technological advances. Mm-hmm. We all benefit from development. We benefit from good roads, if you happen to live in an area with good roads.
Yeah.
We benefit from satellite technology. We benefit from all of this. But at the same time, a big part of it, from just a worldview perspective, is we're looking for a way to overcome the curse in our own power. Mm-hmm. That's what the overview effect ultimately says. we're going to have peace on earth. We're going to overcome this curse of our sin, which divides nations all up, causes war, by what we've built. And how it forces us to cooperate and become one.
You know, in Barry Maguire's song that he wrote in the 1960s, that, you know, The Eve of Destruction, there's one line in there that he says, because I was right at the 1960s space race. He says, "You may go and spend 4 days in space, but when you come back, it's the same old place."
Yep, 100%.
The eve of destruction.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Very
right.
strong.
Yeah. And you know, as we've said before, this world that we live in, it's important for us to do these good things and to not go to war, but it's also important for us to recognize that we cannot become God.
Right.
We cannot achieve all those incredibly lofty ideals that they're hoping to achieve with those things.
Right.
And we're losing our humility in doing it.
And that's why we're building Babel.
Mm-hmm.
Humility or humanity?
Humility, both, yeah.
Both.
Both. But I feel like when I say humility, I mean we as human beings,
We're becoming proud of.
we're becoming proud of where we are, and we're made in God's image, and that should. If I achieved something when I was working as an engineer, when I achieved something that worked really well, I gave thanks to God that He gave me the wisdom and the intellect to be able to do that, and it was my offering, in a sense, of a dependence on Him. And it's good to do that and to accomplish something and to do it well.
Right.
I shouldn't take what I did, the things that I do well, and think, well, my purpose now is to do this to make everybody else do these things so that we can achieve something great as people.
Your job is not to become the world's Messiah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as human beings, we need to, when we achieve great things, we should look to God in humility and thankfulness. It's thank you for creating us, putting your image in us, so that we could do these things.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's humility. That's,
Right. Cool. Any other thoughts before we wrap her up? I mean, tomorrow's day 3.
I know, and it seems like we've been here a week already.
I think that's only because, and Brian, I think it's because we're getting 3 to 5 hours, 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night.
I don't know.
Like, we all came into it super exhausted,
yes.
and none of us have had very much sleep.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
and it
Minneapolis is going to be amazing.
Yeah, I know that. And this is kind of reminiscent of Burning Man, where
Right?
it's like how many hours do you run on per night? 3?
Right.
4, maybe, if you're lucky? Some of us.
Well, I'm really tired. I'm really tired, so I'm just going to have you all walk home. Yeah.
All right, we'll conclude her there. We'll do day 3 tomorrow.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yay.
Thank you. Fantastic. Okay, I hope you found that very helpful and interesting. That's the last segment that I'm going to be processing here before the Easter holiday. We'll be back next week for more discussion. Pray that you have a wonderful Easter. We pray for peace in the world and things that are happening. We pray that God's word will go out, people will come to know Christ, and may you all be blessed.